tutorial on how to make a floppy tunnel and a solid tunnel. And to do this, you're going to need top fabric, bottom fabric. I recommend fleece, but flannel is okay for the top fabric. An absorbent layer, 1/2 inch foam, a marker, a ruler or a measuring tape, sewing pins, a needle and thread, or a sewing machine. I'm going to be using my sewing machine, but everything that I do can be done by hand. Start by laying your top and bottom fabric right sides together, and then go ahead and cut your 1/2 inch foam into either about an 18 by 13. I've seen some tunnel makers go as little as a 15 by 11, but that's up to you. Or if you're doing a floppy tunnel, then you're just going to cut a strip, and this strip should be as long as you want the arc of the tunnel to be and about 2 to 4 inches wide. Once you're done this, you can go ahead and use your foam to make a template, or you can go ahead and then just measure the fabric by hand, but make sure to leave an extra inch or two for some wiggle room. Now, you can see I'm doing this multiple times because I'm making multiple tunnels here, but basically that's it. You're then going to bend the foam into whatever size arc you want, and either use a ruler or a strip of fabric to measure the distance from the bottom to the bottom, if that kind of makes sense. You can see how I do it. And you're going to want to make another rectangle shape about as wide as the first one, but then only as tall as that distance you measured. It's easier to see than to explain. Then go ahead and pin everything down, and I mean like pin this thing like crazy. Trust me, you're going to need to. Once you're all pinned, you're going to cut, and you're going to cut out every single little rectangle you made. Yay! Now, using that smaller rectangle, which is the base of your tunnel, as a guide, you're going to take 2 layers of whatever you chose to be your absorbent layer, in this case cotton batting, and you're going to cut basically the same shape out of it. The reason you have to cut 2 layers is because not only are you going to put 1 layer in the base, but you're also going to put 1 layer in a pad that we're going to be making on that kind of sits in the base. Now, go ahead and line that up with your base, and where I drew the lines, you're going to sew all the way around, saving about 2 or 3 inches at the bottom. Then, with the big piece that's going to become the main part of the tunnel, you're going to sew all the way around, saving 2 inches at the bottom again, this time on the short side, and you're also going to leave the opposite short side completely unsewn, like you see here. So you can see I have everything sewn together now, all the way around the main part of the tunnel, except for 2 inches on the short side and the opposite short side, and all the way around the base, except for 2 or 3 inches on the long side. Go ahead and take your base part and flip that completely inside out. You can see I was having some trouble with that here. Once you have it all the way flipped inside out and you have all of your corners poked, you're not actually going to bother sewing that little 2 to 3 inch gap, because that's going to be completely inside of the tunnel, for lack of a better term. You're going to take your inside base and you're going to put it inside of the main part of the tunnel with your nice edge in. Put your top fabric to top fabric and inner fabric to inner fabric, and you want to line it up so that just the edge of your base is poking out the top of your main part, and just sew, you can see where that hole is, just sew along that line right there. Yeah, you'll be losing a little part of your base when you sew, but it's not really a big deal. Now, after you have that all sewn, you can go through that little 2 or 3 inch hole in your main part of your tunnel and flip the whole thing inside out. After you do that, you should have one solid piece where the base has a seam separating it from the main part of the tunnel, and where the base, basically the fabrics match up as they should. So you can see now I have it flipped upside down for this part. Here's the foam that I'm going to put inside. If you're going to be putting your normal foam inside, but for a solid tunnel, just make sure that it's going to fit inside. And if you're going to be doing a floppy tunnel, then you're going to need to put it in like that, and you're going to need to sew halfway down the middle. For this demo, I'm actually going to be doing a normal one just to show you how to get the foam inside, because it's a little tricky. You want to fold it into a squiggly shape. The more squiggles you can get, the better it's going to go in. I haven't figured out a better way to do this yet. I'm sure there is, but whatever you do, do not roll it up and stick it in, because it's going to be really, really difficult to unroll once it's in there. Basically, you want to get it in there so that you're going to be able to lay it flat and have the corners of your foam meet the inner corners of what's going to be the main part of your tunnel. My terminology is terrible in this video, by the way. I do apologize. So once you have that all lined up with all of your corners as they should be, you can go ahead and you're going to begin to basically sew it shut. I don't know a better way to explain it, but what you're going to do is you're going to take the short edge of your main part to the long edge of your base, and you're just going to sew along that line there. You can hand stitch it, machine stitch it, whatever. All of this can be done hand stitching, although it is faster on the machine. And to be honest, I like the way that it looks better hand stitched because you don't see the seam as much as you do there. But anyway, this is what a solid tunnel will look like with some optional top stitching, and this is what the floppy tunnel will look like with no extra top stitching. So you can see I only have the one line that you have to do to keep the foam in place. I don't have anything else. Whereas with the solid tunnel, I put 2 extra lines in there just to make it a little more solid. If you're hand stitching, then I don't expect you to do that because it's kind of difficult without a machine, and it's also kind of difficult if your machine can't handle it. So definitely an optional piece. After that, all I did was make 2 little pads out of the leftover absorbent layer and the leftover fleece, and there you go, you have your tunnels. Even though this was a super duper fast tutorial, I hope that you guys understood everything and that you're willing to give it a try. It's not very difficult, but yeah, good luck. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye!